Good morning, Kids for Jesus and Jesus family. Can you remember our butterfly friends from a few weeks back? Our peacock butterfly who was so beautiful and so proud of his beautiful wings, thinking that everyone should admire and adore him for his beauty. And then our swallowtail butterfly reminded him that he was so much more important than his beauty, and his job was so much more important. He was supposed to help the caterpillars to see differently so they could change and become different, just like Jesus does for us. When we follow Jesus, we are changed. We see differently, we become different, and we do things differently, more beautifully, just like Jesus. This week, we're talking about servanthood. But what is a servant? I asked Zach, and he said it is someone who has to work for someone else. Caitlin says it's someone who works for you. Tyler Jaden Mackenzie says it's someone who serves. Well, Jesus shows us exactly what being a servant means. The full Bible reading is in the book of John, chapter 13, verses 1 to 17, but we're summarizing a bit. It's almost Passover festival, and Jesus is having a meal with his disciples. During the meal, he gets up and he prepares to start washing the feet of the disciples. Jesus? Washing feet? How can that be? That's not a job for a teacher, a rabbi, a leader, the Lord, the King of all kings. He's way too important to be washing feet. That's the job of a servant, someone less important, certainly not Jesus. So some of the disciples say, nope, there's no way Jesus is going to wash their dirty, unworthy feet. But Jesus says to them, unless I wash you, you have no part with me. Then suddenly they all want him to wash their feet, and Simon Peter says, wash me from the top of my head. But Jesus explains that that's unnecessary. They are already clean, changed by God. All they need to remember is to keep coming back to God every day in prayer to talk to him about any dirt they might have picked up during the day. The most important thing that Jesus says is after the meal, and it's in verse 12.
John 13, verses 12 to 17. When he had finished washing their feet, he put on his clothes and returned to his place. Do you understand what I have done for you? He asked them. You call me teacher and Lord, and rightly so, for that is what I am. Now that I, your Lord and teacher, have washed your feet, you also should wash one another's feet. I have set you an example that you should do as I have done for you. I tell you the truth, no servant is greater than his master, nor is a messenger greater than the one who sent him. Now that you know these things, you will be blessed if you do them.
I know it's a little confusing, but Jesus isn't actually telling us to go around and wash people's feet, although we could. He is saying that we should never think too much of ourselves or be too selfish to consider washing the feet of others, or helping people who might seem less important than us, or the world tells us are less important than us, people who have less than us, not by their own choice, but because of the history of our country. We are Jesus followers. And that does not make us more important than anyone else. It does not make us more beautiful than anybody else. And it certainly doesn't make us more worthy of love than anybody else. Jesus sees us all as equal, and he wants us to treat each other in the same way. But the challenge for us is that we need to have servant hearts. Be humble so that we are prepared to step down, to think more about others than ourselves. Jesus is our example in all things. He is the Son of God, yet he was prepared to do what a servant would do. Like our butterfly friend who realized that his pride was wrong, you have been created to help others. Using your knowledge of Jesus, your experience on your journey with Him, and your love for Jesus to help you encourage others, to share love with others, but not because you are forced to, not because you are someone who has to serve someone else, not because you work for someone, not because you're paid to do something. It is because you are not selfish, because you care about everyone the way Jesus wants you to. Our goal is to serve others as Jesus would, and offer ourselves as Jesus offered Himself.